Good afternoon, everybody. How are we all? Good afternoon, Chekhovs and Neurospicy and Fart Needles. A pleasure to see you. Hello, Anakin, Nikki, Christina, Serenity, Agreenie, Marie. Good to see you. Tucker and friends. I draw people. Hello. Jangle Cat at Sunrise, Katie Bird. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on where you are on this beautiful planet. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another ad hoc live stream. It's a pleasure to see you all. A very different time of day. Trey, good to see you, honey. Eva, I hope you're well. I'm hearing things. Thank you all so much for being here today. Today we're going to be reacting to the lovely Beck in part 2, Mr. Snowflake's Q&A, BeckKindaReacts. Now, I was watching this while it premiered after we finished stream yesterday, while I was unable to sleep, and it was great. Terrible. It was terrible, but also great. I know everybody's kind of been talking about it today, and I'm very late to the party, but that's me, late to the party. So we're going to watch that, and then we're also going to watch over Ambi's latest upload from a day ago. I know Ambi's currently live, so I'm kind of like stepping on toes, but also whatever. We've got my experience with having COVID for the first time at 500 pounds. So I hope those of you who are hanging out in her chat are having a lovely time with Miss Take Your Inheritance Marie over there. Marie, damn, Lynn. Mixing them up. But we're going to get started with Beck's piece of content. So if you'd like to go and support the original creator, which I highly recommend you do, because Beck's nice and Ambi is not, there's a link down in the description below. Feel free to click it, go say hi, leave a like, watch the thing, you know. Do all of that stuff. The only reason I know she's live is because Spambot over on the Discord lets us know. And then you click on it and it's like, oh, become a member. And I'm like, no. So yeah, if you are hanging out over there, I mean, you're probably not here, so I hope it's fun. All right, let's get to. Hi, my name's Zach. Lovely to meet you if you're new, and thank you very much for returning. If you are coming back, I'm not a mental or physical healthcare professional, just got a lot of weight, talks about things on the internet, watches way too much of too many people. I'm also not here to bully, shame, hate, harass, or humiliate, just here to talk about the produced and monetized content that we see here on this platform, because it's all about what choices about what we say, choices about what we put on the internet. Choices! Let's go!
As I could in each answer, and I hope you guys
From the beginning. There we go. Elevator music. Love.
Hey guys, I'm back with another video. This will be part 2 of my Q&A with Mr. Snowflake. I want to thank Mr.
Don't mind me, just balancing audio. Do it live.
Snowflake so much for putting this video together, and to everyone who asked me questions. I appreciate it so much. I did my best to give as much detail as I could in each answer, and I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it.
I'm not choosy. Honestly, hashtag pay them back. Sorry, Beck. 100%, yeah.
Hi everybody.
Make that trend.
Welcome to part 2 of the audience's questions for Beck. Morning after the night before, morning after Amber's taking accountability video. Be interested.
It's a cozy looking dressing gown.
Let's see Beck's take on that, because that was new levels of patheticness. I just can't believe how terrible it was. Right. Anyway, thanks for all your questions again. This is part 2. There's enough for a part 3, because there's just so many. So I haven't asked them all here. I've had to really shorten it because there's so many good questions. So there is a part 3, but anyway. Part 2.
Oh, I missed the big cherry in the background.
For now, thanks for your questions. Beck, thanks for agreeing to do this. I can't wait
Mr. Snowflake reacts to my response, link in description.
to see your response to that taking accountability. Right, here we go.
We did watch that one.
Show what you think was genuine fear or concern when it came to her health and lack of mobility, or does she just not care if she dies before 50? And did anything genuinely change after the cancer in terms of attitude or trying to get better, even if just temporarily? Good question.
She would sometimes cry and get upset about her weight. When I'd speak to her about it, what hurt her the most was always that she felt she would never be her goal weight, and that she would never look the way she wanted to look. Weight loss?
She made absolutely no changes before or after the cancer diagnosis, so I don't know. Looking at then versus now, not much has changed. It's sad.
This is hard. I know.
Victoria, are you hanging out in her chat? Oh, give me the goss. Victoria says she's currently ignoring questions about Beck in the chat, calling it setting boundaries. I call it avoidance.
It is, but it's been so many years since she started her channel that she could have reached that goal in a healthy way, including any slip.
She should see the hashtag. That's what should happen. No, you know what? No, different realities.
Ups along the way by now, if she had really wanted to. I think what upset
setting boundaries my ass.
her most was not looking how she wanted to. Health was not the priority at all. Her career on YouTube was much more important than her health, and she said as much multiple times. If she were to lose weight or not be a train wreck, she wouldn't have as many viewers, and that was the most important thing to her, more than any concern for herself, those around her, or anything else. Nothing changed after her diagnosis.
I gotta ask where the boundaries were when you took someone else's inheritance. Under the guise of, well, I pay for everything in this relationship, and then didn't give them... Sorry, apologies. You gave them $100 when you broke up to hire a U-Haul, which they then needed for a longer amount of time, and you wouldn't even cough up an extra 100 for a second day. Oh my god, go get me started. Or do, whatever.
Did you notice that AMBERLYNN tends to chameleon herself to be just like the people around her, especially her partners, whether it being towards you or maybe when she was around Destiny/Dana, Jade, or her mom? One of the most fascinating things about Amber is her recording.
Have you all seen Lex's new video? No, should we watch that after this?
Herself morphing into different Lynns.
Let's find Spider Lex.
Did you notice that? I noticed it, and I don't notice anything.
I did notice that, and so did everyone around her. That was something that I'd brought up to her multiple times, and so did her friends. When we confronted her, she would say that she didn't realize that she was even doing it.
Ooh. From 1 hour ago, exposing AMBERLYNN'S sneaky link with receipts and reacting to Beck'S Q&A. I don't need all of that. But we can watch that. Do you want to watch that together? We can watch that.
And that it wasn't on purpose.
Do you want to watch that after this one? We'll watch that after this one. Good, I've got it loaded. It's fine. It's not going anywhere.
I always thought it was her way of trying to fit in with the people around her. I don't think she has ever truly been confident in herself or in her own interests enough to just be herself around people. Or maybe she knew that who she really wasn't as likable as the people she wanted to befriend. So it was easier to act like them than to be judged or scrutinized for her own personality and behavior. I think
Ambi's a sponge. It's wild to see in action. Barry, thank you for the super chat, honey. Barry says, credit to... Sane is all in chat, but hashtag cut Beck a check. That's also a good one.
Important to find people who like you for who you are, but I think she didn't feel like that.
Checks for Beck? Does that work?
possible.
A check for Beck.
So she had to be someone else with everyone. If she had just been herself, she could have formed real friendships a long time ago and been actually working on herself and improving all this time.
She always tries to change her personality, but she always comes across as a douche. Doesn't matter which personality she picks, it's douche, 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 douche.
I mean, yeah, I said asshole. so yeah, pretty close.
Let's get better at that. Did Amber ever admit to lying about a disorder? There's so many examples of her lying about being diagnosed with stuff.
She never admitted
Yes. Sorry,
to lying.
I malfunctioned there for a minute.
About a disorder, but I think that's because she genuinely believes that she has every single one that she says she has. She would self-diagnose constantly based on how
Of course she does, and now she admitted to doing, like, asking medical questions of ChatGPT. Like, girl, go seek help.
felt and a few Google searches. She was constantly worried about every symptom she had, so she would always come up with a diagnosis on her own for each one. It's a bad habit.
Yeah, worried about BPD, ADHD, the list goes on. Cancer.
Habit and not a good way to find out.
That's a really weird approach. That's a really weird approach to, like, mental health concerns. It's almost as if she just wants to collect a whole heap of diagnoses to shield herself from any form of criticism on the internet. But that's wild. No one would ever do that. Who would do that?
What's really going on with you? She would go to the ER so often, but rarely or
It's the OBCD and the ASMR, yeah.
never go to a primary care physician, OBGYN, psychologist, or therapist who could...
People were shocked when I broke out that old chestnut of the fact that Ambi had never been to an OBGYN. Ever. Like, free bleeding for a year, never been to an OBGYN at, what, late 20s, early 30s at that point in time? Wild. Wild behavior.
Rarely or never go to a primary care physician, OBGYN, psychologist, or therapist who could have been much more helpful. And as we know, when she would go see those doctors, it would just be a few times before she would never go again.
Amber has accused you of not allowing her to explore her bisexuality. Did she also prevent you from expressing your desire to be... See my little Jupiter's Delight smile? It's because it's coming up in a video. Wow. She seems very upset by the implication that she would date anyone that isn't expressly she, her.
While with Amber, she would be very defensive anytime I'd try to ask her if she may be bisexual. She would say no and accuse me of trying to label her or change who she was. I'd ask
That's very defensive.
about it because she would talk a lot about being with guys, the incident at the movie theater, and about other things she did. It was okay to talk about, but it felt odd to me just how often it was brought up. I think back on it now, and I do think that she might have said those things so often to get some kind of reaction out of me.
I think you might be right, Beck.
Maybe to see if I get jealous about it. I do understand being confused about your identity and wanting to explore that, but I was never really given that opportunity to support her or to allow her to explore that part of her. We didn't talk more about it because she was so adamant that she only liked women and would shut me down anytime I asked about possibly being bi. I think it did affect me in a way, especially after the breakup, and once she opened up more about it.
I think that's really hard to sit there and have a partner talking about their past activities and then to have a conversation around it and then to be immediately shut down seems really awkward.
While with Jade. Jade was bisexual and poly, and Amber started to explore that more with Jade. At some point, and I've admitted this before, I think I let myself feel a little bit like if I were to be with a bi woman, she would eventually leave me for a man. That was an awful way of thinking and really pushed an awful stereotype as well as erasing the experience of bi individuals. I hate that I let myself have those thoughts, and I'm so sorry to anyone who may have noticed that I felt that way and were hurt by it. It was an awful way to view things. I've worked really hard to no longer have that type of bias anymore. I understand now that my experiences have nothing to do with bisexual women as a whole, and my experiences should never affect my expectations of others in the future. As for my experience as an...
Oh my god, this is so refreshing listening. See, Abby, in case you're listening, this is what, like, accountability actually means. Like, acknowledging a fault in the past, working on it, like, speaking it through, as opposed to just sitting on camera crying that you're taking accountability. Like... Beck didn't have to do any of this and has acknowledged, like, a failing of the past and is speaking about it. This is so nice. This is refreshing.
Non-binary person with Amber, I did bring it up a few
Growth.
times in our relationship. The only response I got was always, I don't know, you seem like a woman to me. It took me saying something publicly in a video recently to get her to respect my pronouns and name. So I don't think that if I'd come out at that time that she would have respected that decision.
What was the worst argument you...
No, Ambi has a long history of not respecting people's pronouns, so yeah, I doubt that would have happened.
Amber got into. I'm sure it's all
Like, the logic that she used to use with past relationships was bonkers.
just molded into one horrible hue. But does anything stand out?
You're right. There was so much fighting that it has all melted together in my memory, and they were all really difficult. It's hard to pick out just one. I think the arguments that stand out the most for me are the ones where I got so overwhelmed that I had to leave the house and get away. One.
TD, thank you for the super chat, Ani. TD says, just watched your other live stream. Did you ever read David Rakoff's story on how much he hates that song from Rent about not paying rent? It's the stupidest musical ever. First of all, thank you for agreeing and for the super chat. I appreciate it. I have not read that book, but perhaps I should.
Time, Amber, Eric, Ricky, and I were watching Adventure Time, and Eric changed the channel without asking. Amber, even though she did not like Adventure Time, and even though it was Eric's TV, had a huge blow up. I'd had enough, and I left without grabbing my wallet, my bra, or shoes. I drove an hour to my sister's and showed up at her doorstep barefoot and crying. I just wanted to escape.
What was the day of the We Have Broke Up live stream like? Great question. What was the pre-live stream, and more importantly, what was the post-live stream like? Good question. I don't think about these things. The live stream itself was so uncomfortable, with ALR just staring off into the distance and making Beck do all the talking and responding
Yeah, that We Broke Up live stream sits in my head.
to the chat. What was the rest of the day like? Yeah.
The day of the We Broke Up live stream was really stressful. She spent the day asking me if I was sure about my decision, guilting me about how she wasn't sure what she would do without me, trying her hardest to make me feel awful. I wouldn't be there to take care of her anymore, and that's what she was most affected by.
And from memory, Beck was also requested, to continue sleeping in the same bed as Amby, from memory, and that was still happening. My God.
During that live stream and the following ones, it was obvious to me that she was trying to insult me and put me down to the audience. She really thought she was being clever. I knew I had to be there until...
She was not being clever. She was being extremely... Is transparent the word? I don't think it is. Easy to read. She was being cruel. That's what she was being in that live stream.
Could get my things to move
like
out.
Sitting there mock crying, saying things like, you never truly loved me, kind of sort of verbatim. Like, that's some mess.
And with the promise of being paid monthly to help me get back on my feet. I tried to keep things amicable. I did try to clap back a few times though. For over a week, it was an emotional roller coaster, going from being completely fine to begging for me to come back, then emotionally manipulating me in an effort to get me to rethink my decision, and then being angry at me. Once Jade came into the picture, all
Meanwhile, all this is happening while Amby's holding, like, money over Beck's head. Money that was donated to Beck on Amby's live streams via the audience, specifically saying things like, Beck, this is to help you get back on your feet, and, you know, when you move out, use this to, like, help yourself out. $100 for a U-Haul. Crazy.
manipulation toward getting me back ended, and there were no longer any moments of being nice to me. Everything became about rubbing this new relationship in my face and making sure I knew how quickly she had moved on, and making the split up as hard for me as it could possibly be. She treated Jade much better than she'd ever treated me, and she made sure that I saw that.
It's also crazy behavior to have brought Jade into the house while Beck was still there. Like that. Imagine being in a relationship where someone's basically cared for you every day. And, like, I don't just mean emotionally cared for you, but been your carer for years. And then to not have enough respect for that person in the breakup, to not move your brand new partner in while they're still there. Like, that's crazy behavior. Oh my god.
I like this one. Thank you so much, Beck, for speaking out against narcissistic abusers. It helped me recognise a lot of similarities in the way one of my family members treats the rest of us. Families, man. Oh, don't get me started. And enabled me to start doing my own research on how to handle the situation. I have a question based on my own experience with that family member. Did Amber ever ridicule you or generally make you feel bad for the things you enjoy, like drawing, video games, or
all the time on camera? We saw that content.
Watching certain shows? If so, do you think she did that to make herself feel better, or as a way of exerting control over you?
I'm so happy that I can help empower others to speak up on similar experiences. I also really like to hear that it's helpful in recognizing this kind of behavior in others' lives. I appreciate everyone who tells their stories and who just supports or watches in general. Thank you, Zalaris4144. So, she did make mean remarks about the way I dressed and the way I decorated. Otherwise, she didn't actively put down my interest, often outside of random comments here and there. I think that's because she just showed no interest in anything I liked, was doing, or enjoyed. We were always doing separate things in the same room together.
Amber's probably watching this. Douche. Was Amber ever truly
asshole?
concerned
Not Mr. Snowflake. That's for Amby.
about her health, like hygiene, mobility, etc.? Or was it all just an act? Wishing the best for you, Beck.
Amber did say that she was concerned for her mobility and that she wanted to be more mobile, but never did anything about it while with me. I think that
What a shocking surprise. Me, internet audience, shocked.
was because her online presence was more important than improving her quality of life, just like with her health. She wasn't concerned about how that lack of mobility affected me either, and how much work and effort I had to put in to help her due to those things deteriorating. As for her hygiene, she really never brought up concern about it. She would douse herself in perfume sometimes to help any issues, but that's all. I won't go into detail about smells or anything too personal, but her hygiene did affect everyone around her, myself, and others' personal belongings, and she did not show concern for any of those things.
Not the personal belongings. Girl.
What do you think it will take for Amber to change? Ignore that question.
Not the personal belongings. Hey, gonna stink up someone's, couch? Mattress. Towels? I'm trying to think what was like a shared belonging in the old house. That's why, I don't want to get too much into it, but that's why there was a wall of candles. It was also like consumerism, and Amber likes a collection, but that's why there was a wall of candles.
Was Amber aware of feeder content, and do you know if she purposely made content for the feeder community? We love you, Beck.
Chairs, couches, mattresses. I'm assuming things that have like a fabric element to them. Yeah.
Now it's pretty clear she's making feeder content, but back then...
See, and this is why people put plastic on couches.
Did it ever come up?
Personally, I think being deplatformed would be the only way. I'm not saying I want that to happen. No matter how terrible she's treated me and the number of things she's taken from me, I would never wish the loss of a job, stability, or housing on anyone. I know how devastating that is for anyone. YouTube is how she makes a living, it's how she supports herself, and she uses losing her channel and views as an excuse not to change. The only way she would ever change is if it were her only option. So
I mean, it's true. She, like, for those of us who have been watching for half a decade to a decade, it's all just lip service. Like, nothing ever changes. And there was kind of a brief moment of hope after the cancer diagnosis and treatment that she would maybe, like, be faced with her own mortality and, like, address some struggles and changes. And she'll address them, but she won't actually do anything with them. She'll just use them as an excuse as to why she is the way she is. Which is going to result in probably not great times over the next 10 years.
I don't see that ever happening. To answer the second question, Amber never admitted to me that she catered to feeders when deciding on her content or thumbnails.
Then she started dating one. Ha
tell me that she would do mukbangs because they got views and would use thumbnails showing herself eating for the same reason. No one...
That's weird, because she always told us Google chose her thumbnails.
How often she read through her comments and looked at anything online related to her, I can't imagine that she wasn't aware of what she was doing. It definitely felt like feeder content, but whether she made anything outside of YouTube for that purpose or talked to anyone about feederism specifically, she never mentioned.
Does Beck know anything about...
That's okay. She started dating a feeder, so we know that to be true.
Amber's falling out with Crystal? Actually, that is a good question. Yeah, tried being mates like she does with all her exes, and then it stops.
From what I witnessed, Amber very frequently reached out to Crystal. When Crystal got into a relationship with Nina, Amber was not a fan of having to share Crystal's time and attention with someone else, even though she
Oh my god, get over it, Abby.
was the one to introduce them to each other. Amber talked bad about Nina a lot to Crystal in an attempt to split them up. When I told her to
Fuck off!
leave them alone, Amber made it seem like she was just parroting things I'd told her about my own experience with Nina and doing it to defend Crystal and to defend me and what happened in my relationship with Nina. I didn't want those things to come
God, Amby, butt out, not your relationship. Wow.
between them. What happened with Nina and I was unrelated, and I won't talk more about that experience because it doesn't compare to how Amber treated me at all. Eventually, Crystal got fed up and cut Amber off, understandably.
Good. I'm glad. More people should do that.
Beck, when you both lived together, did she ever sit outside? How come she never goes outside, even to just sit out there? Did you get bored with being inside with her a lot of the time? I remember watching a clip from that era in one video, well, only one video, where Anne was like, oh, it's nice to just sit outside. I think that was her at her heaviest. So yeah, did she ever go outside? Did you get sick of being...
Yeah, there was one vlog where she went outside and was, like, surprised with reality.
Inside all the time.
She would sometimes sit outside on the front steps, but not often at all. She usually just stayed in the bedroom and on the bed. I did get really tired of those four walls, and it really contributed to my depression. I think the reason she didn't go out more often was likely due to mobility, but also just her being content with her laptop, phone, and everything else being taken care of for her.
Did you believe Amber's huge list of mental disorders she said she was diagnosed with? Before she met you, she said she was diagnosed with ASMR. Before she started YouTube, she did a post saying, I've been diagnosed with ASMR.
ASMR, OBCD, BPD, anxiety, depression. I think those are the 4. There might be another one swimming around in there somewhere.
So she lies about that stuff. Did you believe everything?
No, I knew that everything she'd mentioned being diagnosed
Oh my god, a Severance reference? That's the best!
with were all
It's Miss Casey!
self-diagnosed. There was never any confirmation that I knew of for anything she
CPTSD as well? Right? Yeah, I think so.
mentioned having aside from cancer.
What are your thoughts on Amber stealing kids?
Sorry?
She'd mentioned being diagnosed.
Did you believe everything?
No, I knew that everything she'd mentioned being diagnosed with were all self-diagnosed. There was never any confirmation that I knew of for anything she'd mentioned having aside from cancer.
Right, so if you were to go back and watch Amby from 4 or 5 years ago living in the old house, any mention of mental health conditions seems to be self-diagnosed. Shocking. Shocked. I'm shocked.
What are your thoughts on Amber stealing Casey? Oh, okay, there you go, Casey. Stealing Casey's coming out story. Did Amber tell you anything similar while with you? Cheers, Beck. In case you don't know, Casey told YouTube their coming out story. Amber had the exact same, word for word, the exact same coming out story. So bizarre. How bizarre.
I know that I asked Amber about her coming out story, but I think she kept it vague. She said that she always knew she liked women and that her dad didn't take it well. I had to go back and watch the Ankles video on Amber's coming out story to see what story she told YouTube. I don't remember her telling me anything about a note or anything else in that video. But no, I'm really never surprised to hear about Amber lying about anything.
Oh, God.
End of.
Gosh, I'm late, and there are already so many questions, but here's mine. You made the cut, well done. You recently said that Amber used to be so mean to her mom.
Oh, Cuddle Cat's good to see you, honey. I hope you're okay. I'm very sorry.
That she would make her cry.
That's sad.
Did Amber ever make you cry in front of her? And what was Amber's response to seeing you and or her mother crying?
Amber made me cry many, many times in front of her. For someone who claims to be an empath, she really seemed to enjoy making people angry or pushing someone to their emotional limit based on how
Oh my god, speak on it.
empath she really
You cry in front of her? And what was Amber's response to seeing you and or her mother crying?
Amber made me cry many, many times in front of her. For someone who claims to be an empath, she really seemed to enjoy making people angry or pushing someone to their emotional limit based on how often she would do that to me and anyone else around her. Amber's reaction was always to...
I mean, she does that out of disrespect to the audience. Like, she's as, like, trollish as what she complains about, if that makes sense.
Not acknowledge that the emotional response was due to her actions. We were always made to feel like we were exaggerating or that...
Good, Victoria. I'm glad her chat's giving her a hard time. Complaining about it being boring, asking her to address Beck, complaining that she's ignoring chats. She's squirming. Good.
Whatever was done to us wasn't a big deal.
I honestly think if you're a YouTuber who's got like a weekly live stream behind a member paywall, right? She's making what, 15 Australian dollar dues, 10 buckaroos per person. One, at least come prepared, and two, considering all of the like discussion around AMBERLYNN Reid these last few weeks, you might want to like be prepared to like handle some questions without just saying, no, I'm setting boundaries. I'm setting boundaries. No, I don't want to address that. No, I'm setting boundaries.
Didn't be upset with her.
Oh my god, you guys are girdle.
She would say that she didn't understand why we were upset. She could never understand why her actions and the things she said could hurt or upset others. I do think she understood, but she just did not care at all. If someone...
I mean, if her chat started with the hashtag, you know, pay them back, maybe she would address it, but probably not. She's set boundaries, y'all.
What upset Amber, though, it was everyone's problem, and there was no such thing as an overreaction.
How much time in a day would you get to spend by yourself? Like, how often did she expect you to hang in the same room as her? Versus how often you could have some alone time in another room? Did she control most of your schedule?
I would spend all my time in the same room with her outside of bathroom breaks and any time I would leave to get food or see my family. There were a lot of times where she would keep me from seeing them all together, but a lot of those times I would go anyway and just decided to deal with the consequences when I got home. Whether I was leaving with or without her permission, there would be a time limit, and while I was gone, I would receive text messages to guilt me saying things like, I wish I wasn't home by myself. During the
Oh, fuck off, Amby. Get a life. My god.
At times where I was heavily medicated and depressed, she did spend a lot of time in the dining room where she would do puzzles while I slept. She did control the schedule, though I would sleep when I wanted to, except for all the times she would wake me up in the middle of the night to take care of something for her.
This is insanity. This is bonkers. I think the phrase unhealthy relationship is just a bit too soft for all of this.
Wanted to fix a sleeping schedule, she would have us stay awake for 24 hours, then crash at 9 p.m. the next day.
No, but that's sleep deprivation, girl. That's the Geneva Convention says that that's torture. Like, you can't... You're telling me that your... I don't want to say... Well, no, we'll say it. That your bedbound girlfriend was timing you on trips out and forcibly waking you up from sleep and then setting a 24-hour schedule to reset your sleep, schedules. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Except for all the times she would wake me up in the middle of the night to take care of something for her. When she wanted to fix a sleeping schedule, she would have us stay awake for 24 hours, then crash at 9 p.m. the next day. Then she would stay up late again the next night, or a few nights later anyway, making that entire day of exhaustion for nothing.
That honestly sounds like torture.
But Amber would say she didn't like a meal or was done eating and showed a plate of food with some food left. Would she eat it when the camera was off? She does that now.
I don't remember her ever throwing anything half-eaten away. If we were at a restaurant, she always finished her meal. If she said that she didn't like something, she'd usually eat it anyway, then order something else later.
Oh my god.
Right, here we go. In the initial days post-breakup, did Amber try and make you get back together? Didn't think about that one. Or did she ever manipulate you to try and make you feel like you should get back together? Also, when you announced the breakup on stream, did she ever guilt you about it off-screen? Or put it off for long periods of time?
The breakup live stream happened just a day or so after the breakup. I think she spent about 24 hours guilting me offline and trying to change my mind, then couldn't wait to go live and publicly make me feel guilty for my decision once it became clear to her that the guilt trip wasn't working. Even while Amber was dating Jade, she was still saying things to me like, "You should feel like crap."
It's not wifey, it's just Jade? Okay.
For dumping me like that. Or, "I can't believe you dumped me like you did."
You are terrible, trying to get out of an abusive relationship. What were you thinking, Beck? What were you thinking?
Nell, hello.
Take accountability. Was your family sad about the breakup like Amber claimed, or were they relieved? Well, I'm assuming after the intervention, they were relieved.
Yeah, I would assume as well.
My family was so happy. They were only upset that it didn't happen sooner. So yeah, I think they really all felt relieved afterwards.
Hi, Beck. Amber had so many rules and boundaries for what you could and couldn't do. Did you ever put your foot down on any occasion and tell her, "No, I'm not doing that again"?
I did put my foot down sometimes when it came to seeing my family. That was the most important thing to me, and I deal with the repercussions afterward. There were many times outside of that where I said no, but saying no would always start an argument, no matter what it...
See, the worst part is, part of my brain, is trying to put myself in that situation and be like, well, what the fuck's Amber gonna do? Like, she can't even sit up. But then I have to consider just how, manipulative and controlling Amber was in this entire situation, being, the primary breadwinner, literally side-eyeing Beck if they were trying to put coins away or savings, questioning where they were at all times, their spending habits, their sleeping habits, woof. And then on top of all of that manipulation, there's a thick layer of guilt. Yuck. Oh god, bleh.
Down sometimes when it came to seeing my family. That was the most important thing to me, and I deal with the repercussions afterward. There were many times outside of that where I said no, but saying no would always start an argument, no matter what it was that she was asking me to do. The arguments would become so overwhelming and manipulative that I'd almost always end up giving in to her demands.
Beck, what did a typical day with AMBERLYNN look like when you both moved to the apartment? What did AMBERLYNN Reid normally wake up? What time did AMBERLYNN Reid normally wake up, and what was her routine? I'm assuming it was wake up, eat a bunch of crap, and then play Choosy all day.
Amber would almost always wake up in the afternoon between noon and 3. The minute she woke up, she was on her phone and usually looking at DoorDash, checking socials, YouTube, etc. The rest
Crazy.
of the day always depended on what she was into at the moment, usually doing separate things while in the same room. We did play Choosy at the apartment, but Choosy was played the most often whenever we lived with Eric and Ricky. I've read a lot of comments talking about how Choosy may have been a way to isolate me and keep me busy doing something meaningless with her for long periods of time, and I think they were right. It didn't leave much time for me to walk away and talk to my friends.
Beck, did you ever
Bonkers behaviour.
sleep in the guest bedroom? Why was that the only...
I understand the concept of, what's it called? Is it body doubling? Where you've got, like, where you feel as if you can't be productive unless there's a second, or you can't, like, focus or do something unless there's a second person in the room with you. I get that concept, but also, like, this sounds terrible.
only room?
Like, just have that conversation and be like, hey, let's just hang out together. You can do your thing, I'll do my thing. Not, like, count these buttons.
Were allowed to decorate?
Show me your favorite button.
We slept in the guest bedroom every day. Amber didn't like the new mattress or bed frame that we'd bought for a decorated room. She bought it, then never spent a full night on it. As for decorating, Amber told me before we moved into the apartment that when we got our own place, she would be the one to decorate everything, and that I wouldn't have a say in any of that. When I asked why not, she said, well, Destiny never cared that I decorated. I think the only reason I was allowed to decorate the guest room was because that's where all my belongings went anyway. I know she didn't like my style, but she never asked for my opinion or found out what kind of decorations I would like anyway. I know everyone has seen what my bedroom looked like, but I do have a much different style for living rooms and public spaces in a home.
Beck, you've mentioned that each time you previously tried to leave, Amber would make promises to change and that things would get better.
Not that's the wrong button.
What exactly did she admit to needing to change? Oh. And what exactly did she promise would get better? That's such a good one. Did she make any authentic...
Oh, dumb not dumber. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, well, look, thank you for sharing your opinion and thank you for your support. I think the art is fun. And I do not agree with the sentiment that Beck might be grifting. I think that considering the timeline of events and Beck's creation of the channel originally and how that all rolled out, I think there's just a lot of, like, growth, and I can understand coming from a really cynical perspective, because I am a very cynical person myself. I can understand coming from a cynical perspective and side-eyeing the conversation and saying, well, this is all just for content and drama or whatever. But putting myself into a situation where, like, I have been part of a very large YouTuber's life for multiple years, my life was then shared on the internet, and I had to, like, that was the experience, right? And you can talk about choices and all of that stuff. But I think, from my perspective, it seems like Beck has done a great job in processing all of that past stuff with, like, a terrible partner. Like, an absolutely awful partner. Processing all of that, being able to work through a lot of all of that, and then taking the time to understand that, as like, everybody's human on YouTube, right? But she's also a character in a show that we all watch, if that makes sense. And I've spoken about this before. Like, I actually appreciate the fact that if Eric and Ricky came on and did exactly the same thing, I'm into it. The fact that Alexis is doing it as well, I'm into it. I'm not speaking to their character necessarily. Like, if you watch Alexis's content and you kind of travel through that storyline and you compare it to Beck'S, for instance, it's very, very different. But I do appreciate a reunion of sorts. And it's just nice that Beck's able to come online and say, well, I've worked through all of this. This was my situation. Like, this is what it was like. Like, what more do you want? I certainly don't think that Amby's ever going to step up and say, well, it's all lies. She tried and said, well, part of them are lies and part of them are truths. And I don't think Beck's out here saying, send me money and I'll go feed cats, you know? like, and Beck's not necessarily asking for support in that way either. Like, Beck's literally just coming online to say, these are my experiences, I'm going to make content about it because the other person's made content with my name in it for years and years and years. Let me tell you my side of the story. And it always comes down to, like, audience choice, right? Like, it's the audience's choice to support content creators, just like reaction channels, just like individuals who make primary source content. And from my perspective, Beck's received quite a lot of, like, positive reinforcement and kind of, because it's not all about fuck Amber, right? like fuck Amber, because all of this, it's terrible. But I don't think people are necessarily supportive of someone who's come out to say, like, the hardships of their relationship just to spite the other person. I think it's, like, I think this is shocking. I think that, like, Beck, through the entire Old House arc, like outside of some weird like GoFundMe stuff that was happening with like Beck and the family, which we like would have been covered years and years and years ago, I don't think there was ever like a sense of maliciousness or manipulation or any of that. I think this is literally just someone talking through the history, and they have an audience who's interested, because we are interested.
Attempt to change as promised? If so, how long did this renewed honeymoon period typically last before she reverted back to coercive, controlling, demeaning,
Danielle,
too early for me to read those words in a row, and or otherwise abusive words and behaviours? Did she tend to escalate these behaviours to further way?
And Kat, you're right. I think a lot of this is, like, for me at least, I watch people on the internet because, like, I cannot relate. Like, I don't have people like that in my life. Or they have elements about them which I am a little bit more sympathetic towards, right? So, like, Ambi and Foodie, their hard relationship with food hits home pretty hard because I myself have a hard relationship with food. A lot of the bonkers nonsense that goes on outside of that, I have no idea about. And then they get, they talk to someone on the internet for 3 weeks and get married internationally, or loophole married, and all of that stuff. And that's wild. That's where the like bonkers entertainment comes from. But I do honestly think that a portion of Ambi's audience, or the people who watch Ambi broadly through reaction channels, listen to this situation and think, oh, that's like, I might have experienced something similar to that. I'm very fortunate I don't have experience in a relationship that sounds like this, thank goodness, because it sounds bonkers insane. But undoubtedly, there are people on the internet who are listening to Beck's story and think, like, I've experienced similar things. And it's nice that Beck's able to, like, talk about that confidently and easily on the internet, and that there's an audience who hears all of that and thinks, yeah, that's fucking terrible.
You down and thus discourage you from another attempt at leaving. Your sharing as much detail as is comfortable may help many others recognise a similar pattern in their or narc abusive relationships. I'm getting a lot of messages saying that Beck's helping them. Yeah, what was she promising to change? It'll get better, I'll change. Change what exactly?
The promises to change would always depend on what my reason for wanting to leave was about at the time. There were a lot of times that Amber promised me she would get therapy in order to change her behavior. She never continued going after the first few appointments, so no progress was ever really made. She promised that she would do better on her diets, that she would help to clean more, that she would be less strict. Her attempts to change were never really authentic. After each promise, she'd try for a few days, she'd be nicer and demand me do less for her, but then gradually go right back to her old ways. The less mobile she became, the more mean and controlling she would be. She became more confident in the way she treated me and in her belief that I would never leave. It continued to escalate until the end of the relationship. She also knew that the less independent she was, the more she needed me, the more bad I would feel for her, and the less likely I would be to leave.
Hi, Beck.
See, that all is incredibly, like, gross and manipulative.
Snowflake? That's Mr. Snowflake to you. Oh, you said Mr. Snowflake, right. Do you think Twinkie and Wasabi are being cared for properly by Amber, since she has no one to help her? Well, Rarity just went missing under Amber's watch. The state of Twinkie, nails are back to being long. Amber's trying to prove she's looking after the pets. Oh, look at me brushing Wasabi. Can you look at Wasabi when you're doing it instead of eye banging the camera?
I agree, Carrie. And I think the other thing to remember is that, like, Beck has the opportunity to create this content at whatever pace they wish. So I think... Oh, Dumb Not Dumber, thank you for the super chat, honey. That's all right. Dumb says, okay, sorry, y'all. I'm not very up to date on the Ambiverse. I can be swayed. I come in peace. Love you all. Fair, Dumb. That's okay. I mean, like not everybody's up to... Look, some of us know the deep lore and some of us don't. And that's okay. But considering whom we watch on the internet, my lizard brain tells me that Beck is extremely sincere and has done a lot of work. And also, you can see... I spoke about this in a previous live stream. You can see the general audience support, and that really chaps Amber's butt as well, because Beck's been able to kind of come out and connect with not just reaction channels who like create these kind of question like this question content for Beck to then react to, which I think is really smart, but it's also just kind of exposing the audience to Beck's side of the story. Now, if Wifey came out and started making content, or Danielle, or like Erica, or any of that, like comparing Beck's story to Erica's story is bonkers bananas. Like, Erica and Brittany came online, teased, like, live streams. Erica's story did not make sense, but it sounded, again, bonkers bananas. They were doing it for a troll, and then they fell in love, and then they were married, not married, living with, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's none of that mess here. Like, there's none of that underlying, like, cynicism. It just seems like someone who had a bad relationship a long time ago, was a co-star on the show that we all watched, and now has decided to speak on their experiences because Ambi just can't shut up.
From my experience, she does not properly take care of her animals when living alone. I haven't seen Amber or Twinkie and Wasabi in years, so there's no way for
Raven, it was. I stayed up. Actually, this side of the world, it wasn't too late, but like I could see as Brittany was doing the live stream, she kept pushing it back and back and back and back, and then was like reading off of notes, and then just all of this dumb stuff, and none of it was actually about like Ambi's relationship with Erica. It was just like, ooh, do you want me to spill the tea? Like, Ambi might have boils. And it's like, girl, okay, we've been watching her for 10 years. Like, whatever. Like, who are you? She was also new here.
Sure, if she truly takes them to see the vet regularly, grooms them, or cleans the litter boxes enough. After hearing about Rarity, it does worry me. I can't say for sure.
I wonder if you could give us more insight into your family's intervention. When they started saying red flags, and when they started to warn you about the relationship.
My family saw red flags.
Tijan, good to see you, honey. We're going to watch it after this.
From the beginning. My mom, my sisters, and their then husbands all quickly had arguments with Amber. My family is not perfect, and some of them have very, very different opinions from mine.
Do you know what? That's what Amber should do for a live stream. She should react to the Alexis video. Someone tell her that.
And not all of them support me, but my sisters and my mom did, and were nice to Amber. Amber would go out of her way to stir the pot and start arguments with them. My family pointed out that Amber was controlling, that I was seeing them so much less, and voiced their concerns about my well-being while caring for her to the extent that I did. The day of the intervention, my family asked to meet me at a park, and I had no idea why. This all happened during the bad times, so I don't remember everything that was said. My mom was the one who planned it. She talked to my sisters and said that she wanted to meet up with me away from the rest of the family and talk about her concerns. My mom and
oh, that's so sad.
sisters all met me at the park and sat down with me. Mom felt like I was being held hostage by Amber and being kept from seeing the family. She saw the state my mental health was in because she had never seen it become so bad before. Because of that, she was really concerned for my safety and just wanted me to leave her in the situation I was in.
Crazy. Can you tell when...
It is bonkers to me that was all... Like, we were watching content 3 times a week during all of that time. Like, Beck was featured in it, and just, like, thinking of the things that were happening behind the scenes. I mean, both Ambi and Chantal always say there's so much happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. So that's part of the reason why this is nice to get a lot more context as to what was happening, but it's just heartbreaking.
When Amber is fake crying, I can. If so, what is her biggest tell? Love to see you thriving in a relationship with a beautiful woman. Your iceberg videos have been so fun. It'll be interesting when you, Beck, when you get all the Amber stuff out and then it's just passion project after passion project. Yeah. Anyway, can you tell when Amber is fake crying?
See, I think that there might come a time where Beck is only working on content that's outside of, like, Amber stuff. But I think Amber being Amber, she will always find a way to bring it back to herself. And I think, I think the audience will have something to do with that, because the audience will find stuff from like a year ago and then ask Ambi questions, whether or not she's doing live streams or whatever, and then she'll just get mad and start talking about people again. That's just kind of what she does.
When Amber actually cries, there are real tears. She sobs, her shoulders shake, and her voice squeaks. I don't think I've ever...
Veronica, thank you for the super chat, honey. Veronica says, and to think Beck's mum passed knowing Beck was in that situation, I would be so heartbroken knowing my mum didn't see me very... Yeah, I agree, Veronica. I think that entire situation was very, like horrible. And the way Beck talks about it is, like, you can tell there's so much regret there, which is a hard thing to process and work through, and hopefully they have or are. But, like, I can't imagine being in such a toxic, controlling relationship that they're limiting the amount of time you can spend with your sick mum. Like, yeah, that's fucked.
Seen her genuinely cry on camera. In her last response to Beck video, her eyes are dry, and she changed her voice a little to sound emotional, but you can tell it's not real. She did that a lot while filming, then would stop the video and turn around like nothing had happened. Also, thank you. I can't wait to do more videos showing my interests in things I love.
What is Ayla really diagnosed with? Yeah. Anything? Or would she just come back and go, I got diagnosed with all this? I don't know why she's obsessed with being diagnosed with stuff.
I don't know. I think she uses it as an excuse to be an asshole, but...
With me, the only thing she was ever diagnosed with besides cancer was bipolar disorder. Eric, Amber, and I all visited the same doctor who diagnosed all three of us with bipolar disorder and prescribed us all the same medication based on a questionnaire the doctor had given us. The doctor...
Does that seem weird to anyone else? That seems weird to me. I didn't know bipolar disorder was such an easy thing to diagnose, that you could just do it with a multiple choice quiz.
Eventually took me off that medicine and said my diagnosis may have been incorrect due to my reaction to the medicine. Amber stopped taking it and seeing the doctor altogether. I continued seeing that doctor for years. I don't know about any other official diagnosis she's ever received, and there were no more given while with me.
Like, because she's nuts. Was there ever a moment to where you were in so much fear from AMBERLYNN that you wanted to call for help via police?
Pat says that ain't right, and no, it's not.
Family, that's a sad one. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I ever felt the need to call the police. I didn't feel physically threatened by Amber, but I did sometimes feel like calling for my family, either wanting to just talk to them or needing to run to them to be by their side for emotional support.
God. Hearing this in a vacuum, you would ask, why are you staying in that relationship? Having to literally run away from AMBERLYNN Reid just to spend time with your family to get away from them. Ugh.
Did Ayla put times on more things than what you've already told us? How many other things?
Hey Sam, good to see you. I have a lot of curiosity about like that particular situation. That doesn't sound right.
Did she do that with?
She would put timers on cleaning, but I kind of found that helpful sometimes. She'd sit in one spot and clean the areas that she could reach from her seat while I cleaned everywhere else. If I watched a movie in the living room with friends or did anything outside of the room she was in, and she didn't plan on joining, she'd always ask how long the movie was or what I'd be doing and for how
voodoo, that makes sense.
long. I don't know if she'd set a timer in those instances, but I would get a text right around the time I estimated, asking if I was done and when I'd be coming back. She'd set a timer for lint picking, back brushing, and massages. If I was done and when I'd be coming back. She'd set a timer for lint picking.
Lol, my bad. Plucking. I mean, same.
Back brushing and massages, and any activities we did together. She'd set a 10-minute timer while we watched a movie. When that timer would go off, she'd spend 15 minutes on her computer. Then she'd either go back to the movie for 10 more minutes or...
I remember Ambi talking about this. She used to say, y'all, we find it so hard to watch a movie together. Like, I'll watch it for 10 minutes and then stop watching and then go do something else. And it's probably my insert mental health diagnosis, faux diagnosis, sorry, here. Crazy that she set timers to accompany that. Not just like, I'm going to sit down and watch a movie and 10 minutes in, I'm bored now, I'm going to go do something else. But weird to set a timer, I think.
I estimated, asking if I was done and when I'd be coming back. She'd set a timer for lint picking, back brushing, and massages, and any activities we did together. She'd set a 10-minute timer while we watched a movie. When that timer would go off, she'd spend 15 minutes on her computer. Then she'd either go back to the movie for 10 more minutes or pick another activity and go back to the movie after. Sometimes...
Why are you setting timers for a 10-minute movie watch?
It was reading, journaling, or choosy. If I was in the bathroom, there would be no timer, but she would text, call, or yell to tell me I'm taking too long.
Okay. That's just abusive. Like, that's fucked. So in Beck's previous piece of content that we were watching, Beck was saying how they used to, like, go to the bathroom just to have some time to themselves and make the most of it. Not Ambi yelling out and texting that you're taking too long in the shitter. Holy fuck. Get a life. Oh my god. Lala, thank you for the super chat. Lala says, I'm petty. I want Beck to make so much money. Buy Takeyourinheritancelyn's dream car, a Jeep, and drive by her with her fiance in the passenger seat. Oh, maybe, yeah, no, I love that. Oh, we could work on that one, Lala. I agree. Thank you for the support and the super chat. Yeah. I think the best revenge is like living a full and happy life, and whether or not that person sees that full and happy life, that's entirely up to them. I already, like, I mean, it's not a competition, but I already think Beck's doing such a great job at fostering, like, a healthy audience, encouragement in content creation, like, good relationships between other content creators, and that's just on YouTube, right? That's not to say everything else that's going on in their lives. So, yeah, I think Beck's in a great place now to only, like, do even better. But fuck off, Ambi. My goodness.
Beck, do you know anything of the Rain and Petals? Oh, we just talked about that. Pain and Metals.
Get a hobby, Lynn.
So, the Rain and Petals eavesdrop story, or the accusations of SA Amber has made towards people. Did she ever come clean, confide, or despair?
That was probably, you know, that piece of content where you can kind of hear Ambi screaming babe in the background? That's probably what's happening. Beck's in the bathroom and Ambi's bored and she's not getting a text back, so she's just laying on the floor on the mattress yelling for Beck. My God.
Her own stories. I don't know how much you've seen. You probably haven't seen all of that stuff, actually. The SA stuff, claiming that she's been SA'd by so many people. So many different people. And the story's changed. And the reason why she's told the stories has changed. I'll send you all the clips if you want more clarification, but so many examples of her just flat out lying about being
I have seen pretty much all of those clips vicariously through Mr. Snowflake.
SA'd.
The Rain and Petals eavesdrop is so ridiculous. The only instance that she told me about was with Casey. She never admitted to me that what she said was a lie and never mentioned any of the other instances that I'd heard mentioned in your Mr. Snowflake's videos. She would bring up throughout the relationship that she didn't understand why viewers invalidated her experience, and she would tell stories about things Casey had supposedly done to her. I believe now that Casey is
From memory, Ambi also walked the majority of that back and admitted to them being lies. I used the wrong word.
another victim of Amber, and I understand why there's so much doubt about everything Amber says.
What shows did AMBERLYNN say she was going to be on? Oh yeah, I was always talking about some shows contacted her, this show's contacted her. What shows did AMBERLYNN say she was going to be on?
There was a show called Too Large that contacted her and wanted her to be on the show, but they wanted her to move to Atlanta and to follow a strict diet. She told me that she rejected the show because she didn't want to move and was afraid that she wouldn't be able to post YouTube videos while on the show. I also
Missed opportunity, AMBERLYNN Reid. That could have been so much fun. You telling me AMBERLYNN Reid could have been in Atlanta, Georgia, filming I'm Too Big? Was it that what it was called?
also vaguely remember her getting an email about being on My 600 Pound Life, but that could have been totally fake. We weren't sure.
Was Amber secretive with her phone during your relationship? Infamously cheated on Emily with Erica and was still talking to Abby while with...
Oh, Too Large. Sorry, Too Large, not Too Big.
Emily?
We were robbed, DX. And see, the thing is, if she was worried about not being able to, to post on YouTube, that's where you just go back to them and say, great, so I'll be internet silent for 3 months while we film and you can show it and whatever, and then you pay me, and then I go to YouTube. Great, easy.
First started dating, she mentioned that she received a lot of nudes from people on Snapchat. I told her that it made me kind of uncomfortable, and she told me that she changed the settings or something so that it wouldn't keep happening. But I never looked to see if that were true. Amber was really secretive with her phone. She would take mine and go through it all the time, but told me that she didn't want me looking through her phone because she had private journals and insisted she needed her privacy.
Get fucked, AMBERLYNN Reid. Oh my God. Hi, babe. You can't see my phone, but I'm going to spend hours looking through yours because I don't trust you. What a fucked up relationship. Veronica, thank you for being here for 40 months, honey. Veronica says, as much fun as it sounds, don't bring ALR to Atlanta.
Right. So that's the audience's one. There's loads. There's more. I could do an endless series on this, but there's enough for another part. But I've...
Do you know what? That just screams that Ambi was speaking to other people for a long time. How are you going to be bedbound, free bleeding, and having Beck wipe and pluck you, and be afraid that person's going to read your secret journals? Gurnals. What was in the gurnal? I can guarantee you that Ambi was bad-mouthing Beck in that gurnal. Ugh. Beck only spent 43 minutes plucking lint from my shirt today. I asked for 45, and then they spent 40 minutes in the bathroom avoiding me, and I had to send 4 text messages, and they didn't respond. God, no one loves me.
Done a few as well, because there's a few I want to know. And with victims, it'll tie up a few things. Anyway, What's this one? Reaction channels. Which reaction channels did she hate the most? I wasn't around then, so sadly won't be me.
Oh, I'm going to guess. Slash, I listened to this already last night. Karina, Apathetic Facts. I'm trying to think who else was kind of big. Big during the Old House era. I guess Michael B. Petty and Zachary Michael were there too. Huh.
It's the ankle now.
Oh, Kicking Geese, yeah.
Did she talk about them?
Oh, and Willow. I remember Willow. Oh, bless.
Did it annoy you how obsessed she was with them? Did she ever cry over reaction channels? She's admitted to crying over Ask If Em posts and Instagrams. Was she genuinely obsessed?
Oh, and Charlie, of course, Drake.
Talk about them all the time. Would she cry over Geordie? Hope it's a yes.
Karina Kaboom, Willow Davis, CXNT, Charlie Gold, Kicking Geese, and Apathetic Facts. She
Nailed it.
talked about the channels daily and watched every video that came out about her. She loved to say that none of them would have a channel or be making any money without her. She'd proudly tell me about her flagging videos of theirs. It was annoying to me that she was so obsessed because it was such an unhealthy obsession. She would sometimes cry about the things the channels would say, calling them bullies, and saying it
Of course, we're fatphobic.
was due to fat shaming.
How long would you be checking comments on her videos, and did that ever?
Yeah, right. Notice nothing I've said today has really... Well, I mean, I very rarely talk about Ambi's physicality or weight specifically. But in this context, like, the bedbound note is particularly poignant in the relationship talk.
How often she would talk about them. Look what this person said, look what it... How long?
Well, Ambi was trying to be friends with Zachary Michael, right? Like, always in the DMs asking for advice and stuff.
Would she just check? Because every now and again...
So weird.
And she'll go, I'm not reading comments. But she is.
She would spend an hour at a time scrolling through her YouTube comments.
All right, Victoria has an Ambi live stream update. I'm kind of living for this format, Victoria. I'm enjoying this. She accidentally blocked someone and chat has been her tech support for almost 10 minutes. Now most are complaining, saying, can't you do this after the stream? Great, so she's just wasted 10 minutes trying to find out how to unblock someone that she accidentally blocked in her chat. I'm so glad people are paying $15 dues to hang out with her in there.
On and off daily. She would also cry about her YouTube comments and talk about how detrimental it was to her mental health, but would go out of her way to read them, along with posts on Reddit, Kiwi Farms, and Facebook.
She was everywhere.
Hygiene. All right. Hygiene. Well, yeah, I think you've been respectful about Amber's lack of hygiene. However, I mean, I wouldn't be. Especially not after...
She just learnt Control F to find something.
Her accountability video. I'm sorry you thought you were abused. You man. However, I think it's a valid thing to discuss because...
Can someone ask her if she knows how to open a PDF?
It must have affected you. It must have had a negative effect on you. Being around somebody who refuses to clean properly. That would have done my mentals in. That wouldn't have been good for me. Was it something you tried to talk to Amber about? And would she get defensive if you did bring it up, or did you not bring it up but wanted to? Did she get defensive if you or anybody brought it up? I mean, you don't have to say how much she stunk or stank. But would she ever get defensive if you brought it up? The lack of hygiene, and it is part of the abuse. That is awful to have to put up with that. So I know Amber, even though you didn't even mention the hygiene stuff before, Amber wasn't happy that you were talking about the hygiene stuff, even though you didn't.
I would talk to Amber about her hygiene. I tried to convince her to cut her hair to make maintenance easier on both of us, and she refused. I told
Both of us.
her to stop wearing the chokers when the dark spots appeared behind her neck, and she told
She should.
me it wasn't a big deal and that it was fine. I'm not going to go into detail about the smell, but it was brought up to me a lot by everyone around me, and I did have to talk to her about it. Her reaction was usually to blame her depression and how she struggled to clean by herself.
I think there's a really, I think, easy, and I'm a non-confrontational person, right? But there's a really easy way to approach stuff with, like, in that realm, when you're noticing that someone's, like, not looking after themselves well, or, like, seem to be not in a good place because of hygiene, general outlook, clothing, whatever. Like, there's a really easy and kind way to ask the question, like, is everything okay? How are you feeling? What's going on? Because that kind of opens the door. Now, being in a relationship with AMBERLYNN Reid, imagine asking those questions and the, like, visceral, like, aggro defense you would get about it all. And it is entirely unsurprising that that was probably brought up very, very few times. Because, like, who's Beck to have to bring that up to Ambi? Know what I mean?
Eventually, I stopped asking her to help herself because it wasn't going to happen. It did get a little better when we moved into the apartment with the large walk-in shower, but I did still stand in the bathroom and help until the day we broke up.
Bonkers.
I see a lot of abuse when it comes to you and Amber. People often mention financial abuse, which is not something I immediately think of when I think of abuse, but it's still a form of abuse. I always think of physical or emotional, but then I see people talking about financial. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, that's one as well. That's a big one as well. Can you think of any big examples of Amber abusing you financially?
I can think of some, but I'll let Beck get to it first.
Amber constantly held over my head that she was the only one with an income.
That's exactly where my mind went. Jenna, thank you for the super chat, honey. I hope you're doing well. Jenna says, good afternoon, Zach. Hope you're doing well, mate. I am. Thanks for hanging out, mate. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Happy
Every
afternoon.
argument, she would tell me how she pays all the bills and buys all the food, as if that gave her a right to control me, and as if I contributed nothing to her life. I would tell her each time that if she felt that way, I'd gladly go back to working. She'd quickly say, no, I don't want you to do that. And she didn't. She couldn't handle being apart from me for any extended period of time.
And we know that that's not just a Beck thing either. Like, she was doing that while Ambi was doing that while she was dating Destiny. Destiny came out and said, like, whenever I was on lunch break, I needed to be, like, on the phone or texting or whatever, like, from the car, because Ambi couldn't stand to be alone.
Caretaker, and that was already my full-time job, and a thankless one.
God, Ambi needed a hobby. Needs a hobby.
Despite that, and doing what I could to contribute by also being in the vlogs, when she knew full well that I didn't want to be, in order to earn the home I was living in her mind, she would also be sure to take away any money I'd get from other sources. I mentioned this before, but even being seen collecting change would trigger her to question whether I was saving up to leave her.
I do have to ask, I remember when Beck was doing, like, commission artwork, wasn't there, like, a wooden box or something, and, like, drawings? Beck was doing commissionable, like, artwork back. Was that I'm pretty sure it was the old house. So what was Ambi's attitude towards all of that? Like, Ambi was talking about it in the vlogs.
Mother passed away. Me and my siblings received a portion of a settlement from my dad's job that ended up being around $5,000 to $6,000.
Oh, okay. So this is the note in the title today.
Seen collecting change would trigger her to question whether I was saving up to leave her. When my mother passed away, me and my siblings received a portion of a settlement from my dad's job that ended up being around $5,000 to $6,000 for each of us. I was not allowed to keep it. She told me that the money had to go into paying the bills and my half of the rent. My mom
That's fucked.
Had plans for when she would have received that money before she passed away. Getting it was bittersweet, and I would have liked to use it in some way to honor her. She wouldn't have wanted Amber to have it, and it really hurt, but she took it anyway. When I told her that I would like to do something with the money, she dismissed it and treated me like I owed it to her, and it wasn't my choice. She said that
Ambi, Beck was your live-in fucking caretaker for years. Beck drove you around when they probably shouldn't have been driving. Basically, like, helped you through life for half a decade, and you wanna pilfer $5,000 of the inheritance that was theirs, not yours. Girl, you're not earning pennies on YouTube at that point in time. You're pulling in at least 6 figures. Like, that's crazy.
that I couldn't have it because the bills needed to be paid, even though I knew that she was making enough from YouTube to cover bills and rent with no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, don't buy candles for like a month.
Thanks for doing this, Beck. Not a super long one. Actually, I don't think it was. Oh, no, it wasn't. Like I said, there's another part there if you want to do it, but...
That's crazy.
There's no rush, because this must be a bit draining.
Yeah,
Well,
take your inheritance, Lynn.
I'm hoping it's good for you. Like
I mean, I laugh because it's absolutely bonkers, but, like, I don't even know how... how did she even open that conversation? Hi, Beck. So your mum just passed away and you're about to get an inheritance. It's mine. I'm taking it. We're putting it in my bank account. I'm taking it, though. No, because I paid for everything and you're just, like, here. So that's my money now.
It was good for Casey. I was really sad about the Casey interview.
Yeah, don't go back to work. I'll take care of everything. But also, you've come into some money and that's mine now.
He said, no, it was good. It's good to get this out.
That's bonkers.
I suppose you do after a while, don't you? You suffer all this abuse, and then after however long, you think, right, I'm ready to share my story. Like I say, I've had plenty of messages from people saying, because Beck is doing this, I feel a bit more confident to speak up. I think we had one there, didn't we? I feel a bit more confident to speak up about my situation.
That's what I was saying.
Right, anyway, thanks for doing this, Beck. Hope you're doing all right. Right, cheers, everybody.
Those were all really good questions, and I hope I was able to give you guys some interesting answers.
They were great answers. I like this piece of content. I like a lot of Beck's content.
To thank everyone once again for watching this video, and to Mr. Snowflake for putting it all together, and of course everyone who asked me questions. This is the second Q&A we've done, and I'll link the first one in the description below. Maybe if you guys like this one too, we could do more of these in the future. I'm so grateful for being able to tell my story and for everyone willing to give it a listen. I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye.
That was nice. I would love if there's another, like a future Q&A, if people ask, I seem to miss them. I'd love to ask about like what Beck's been through post Ambi, like how Beck's been able to like find the clarity, what they're enjoying about making like their content. Is it cathartic for them? Is it therapeutic for them? One of Ambi's favorite words. Like I'd like to get it. I'd like to know Beck's perspective on how you get out of such a like terrible relationship that was so public, and then to have that person continue to speak on you while you're trying to like work on yourself. That's what I would like to know. Also hashtag pay Beck back. That's really hard to say. Pay Beck back. There you go. Pay Beck back. I have to read it. Night Ali, have a good one. All right, chat. Like I said, Spidey Lex has a video, so we might watch that. We might just not watch Ambi today because I ain't got the time. Actually, I'm gonna keep it over here, and we're just gonna put Ambi's dumb face on camera.
Hey guys,
I didn't say dumb, I said face. Yeah, this one. This is a good freeze. And we're gonna play Alexis's in the background. 1.25? Sure. Barry, thank you for the super chat, honey. Barry says, thank you for making the college admissions process much easier to deal with. P.S. Studying math after being out of school for 4 years sucks. Ooh, what kind of math? That's fun, Barry. Thank you for the super chat. You're so welcome. Best of luck. And AC, good to see you, hon. All right, chat. We're gonna move over to Ambi's face. Smug Lynn. Steal your inheritance, Lynn. Take your money, Lynn. Canvia says, Spidey likes most of it is met, get past 14 minutes. Okay, well, it's only 19 minutes, so we'll see how it goes.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I know I've been really quiet for the last couple weeks, but just know I have still been in the loop. And since I recently got my monetization back, I figured now would be a good time for me to speak out on a couple of things.
Okay, so again, just a comparison. They're very different people, clearly, different content creators, but just a... Just a note in the Alexis versus Beck method of creating content and relationship with the audience. 16 minutes in. Well, I was just waiting for my monetization to come back. Oh, of course. Okay, well, at least you're honest.
In this video, I'd like to talk about certain situations that have happened in the last couple of weeks with Amber. But I more specifically want to focus on Beck and their videos and their Q&As and certain responses that they've had. So
I will be interested in this only because, like, I'm not 100%... Like, did Alexis ever meet Beck? I don't think the timelines match up there, but we'll see.
So I'm hoping I can, if nothing else, provide an interesting perspective from my point of view on a couple of situations that have happened in the last couple of weeks in the Amberverse. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Am I shocked that Amber would want to date a feeder? No, I'm not. And her being with someone who is okay with the weight she's at, or really okay with her gaining more weight, would be the easiest type of relationship for her to be in.
I 100% agree, because when she was with Valentine, or
Erica.
She
The married one, yep.
immediately hopped on Ozempic again. She immediately got a prescription for that, or wherever she got it from, I think a med spa. And
Semaglutide, yes.
And when we get a little bit further into this video, I'm going to pull clips from AMBERLYNN'S videos where she talks about getting on semaglutide once again. But I'm going to be...
Victoria... Oh, Nikki said, at Victoria, someone texted her hashtag pay Beck back. Oh, I love that so much. It's such a trendy hashtag.
Sharing a little aspect of this whole semaglutide thing that nobody has talked about and nobody has mentioned.
Oh my
because
God.
I think that I might be the only one who actually knows besides her.
Okay, we've got an insider tea with Alexis, Ambi's once best friend, then arch nemesis, then kind of friend again, then not really.
And probably her mom. But anyways, so when she was with Valentine/Erica, I mean, we all know that Erica was really obsessed with like her fitness and being in the gym. So AMBERLYNN saw her as like a savior, like, oh, this girl's obsessed with her fitness. She's going to get me on track. I'm going to get on track. I'm going to get my weight down. Like, this is going to be it for me. So I think that's
Okay, Erica was like a power lifter, right? Yeah, okay.
why she clung onto Erica so hard, even though
She clung onto Erica so hard because it's AMBERLYNN Reid pretending she's in a relationship in her head. Like, she got hooks.
was in a marriage already. And after that relationship ended, I think that she was just willing to settle for whatever. And she doesn't want to work towards anything now. Not that she did before, but it is a lot easier for her to be with someone that allows her to eat whatever she wants to.
I don't really have anything to...
Ambi eats whatever she... Well, I mean, I guess outside of the Ozempic. It is strange to me that Ambi's been on semaglutide/Ozempic 3 times now, and there's always, like, an administrative problem. That's strange.
To say about Emily, I don't know her, but I will say that I don't see how you can care for a person while participating in feederism with no concern for their health.
And this is exactly the reason why I told AMBERLYNN that I cannot be friends with her anymore when she started dating Emily. Like, yes, Emily seemed nice enough. She was quiet. But
that's not what you said. You said she said one of the most horrible, terrible things a person could say to another person, which is when Emily had said... Emily was talking about the ex-fiancé who was passed, and either making a comparison to Ambi or saying how much they missed them while also dating Ambi.
during the period where AMBERLYNN and Emily and I would sit on FaceTime calls, Emily would always make...
God, get a life. Tatty, thank you for the super chat, honey. Tatty says, yay, woke up to you live on my 30th birthday. Happy birthday, mate. I hope you have a great day and a fabulous birthday week. And thank you for the super chat. Happy birthday.
These weird little suggestive comments that let me know that she was not a good person. I specifically remember one of the FaceTime calls where AMBERLYNN was talking about semaglutide, and she was debating whether she should DoorDash or not, but Emily was so persistent, like, yeah, you know, you should DoorDash, I want to, like, watch, but I was...
Oh, God. I mean, it will live forever in memory, Ambi eating that, like, soft serve inside of a fruit roll-up thing. God damn it.
On the phone, so AMBERLYNN was like, no, like, I don't want to cheat on my diet, like, I've been doing good. Like, she actually exhibited some self-discipline in that conversation. But then
I would be cynical about that.
Emily DoorDashed for herself, and she was like, come on, babe, like, let's eat dinner together. So AMBERLYNN then eventually did DoorDash, and they did both eat. And I just want to note that this is before they met in real life, and this was before I announced that I wasn't going to be friends with her anymore. And AMBERLYNN was still on semaglutide at the time. So on top of AMBERLYNN being lazy and not wanting to stick with a plan or stick with a diet, it was also Emily that encouraged her to stop taking the semaglutide.
I do think
Oh, shocking hot tea. I mean, we all knew, but...
that she convinces herself that her
No, of course. The documented internet feeder was going to recommend that 500-pound Lynn keeps taking Ozempic because that's definitely, like, in line with what they clearly desired about Ambi. Yeah.
True because she wants them to be true. It's really hard to explain why I think that, but I feel like I've seen it happen.
A lie that really stands out to me that AMBERLYNN told me was regarding who she was seeing and who she was talking to right after her and Beck had broken up. So she was talking to Jade, but apparently she also
we are just calling her Jade today.
Was talking to a girl named Alex, and allegedly Jade allowed AMBERLYNN to eventually meet this girl, even though they were together. However, AMBERLYNN told me this after she stopped allowing Jade and I to talk to each other, and
what in the messy cobweb of people?
I don't have Jade's information, so there's no way that I could like reach out to confirm. But every time that I would bring up that situation for clarification, she would never give me the same story twice. Like, she would never present the same story as she did initially. So that leads me to believe that she did believe her own lies because she would tell me lies, and then in her head...
Girl, I'm gonna have to get you to write this down. What are you trying to say?
I could like hear her justifying in her head.
I need a map exactly punched.
Why that lie was true. I don't really know how to explain it either, but I know for
okay, great. You could have cut this.
The fact that she lied all the time.
The only other red flag I've really seen from Amber was she did have a crush on Billie Eilish when Billie was just starting out. So I think she was a teenager around then, which I told her was weird, and so did Eric and Ricky. But she said that she was almost an adult and that she acted older and looked older, so it was okay. I just really wished I would have dug deeper into these things and taken it more seriously, because they really are awful and it's unacceptable
Yeah, that's fucked.
behavior. But I will always stand with victims.
So one thing I want to mention relating to this topic. So I was the one that brought to the public that AMBERLYNN was talking to a 20-year-old romantically. So
Oh, this is Danielle or something?
not only was there a 13, 14-year difference between the two, there is something that I would like to mention regarding Abby and
Abby, okay, sorry, there's just too many fucking people.
Lynn's relationship. So the only reason why AMBERLYNN and Abby didn't start dating was because Abby had a very religious upbringing, and AMBERLYNN would tell me that Abby would cry to her and tell her that her talking to AMBERLYNN in that way was wrong in her eyes, and that her family would never accept her, or AMBERLYNN for that matter. And this
Oh, Lord.
young girl was truly having an identity crisis. But AMBERLYNN would tell her, like, it's okay to be gay, God doesn't hate gays, which I personally agree with, and I am all for trying to encourage young people to be who they are without any shame, as long as it's not hurting.
I think in that entire conversation, it is extremely predatory of AMBERLYNN Reid to try to form some type of romantic relationship with someone, 14 years her junior, who's going through an identity crisis, a crisis of faith, a crisis of, like, sexual identity and interests. Like, girl, fucking be a friend, give some advice, like, shoot out some digital, like, resources and community groups, but don't try to be a partner while all of that is going on. That is not right. Leander, thank you for the super chat, honey. What a treat day. Good to see you. Hi. Thanks for the super chat.
Bouts of just like energy.
No, not you. Oh, wait, let's find another pause. 8, there it is.
Them or somebody else. But with AMBERLYNN, she was using these tactics as a way to manipulate this girl so that AMBERLYNN could have what she wanted, which was a relationship with this 20-year-old girl. I also wanted to mention that before I became friends with AMBERLYNN, I did not know anything about Libby, and I didn't know that AMBERLYNN had a weird history with liking or being inappropriate around minors, and
A long recorded, documented history on the internet, yes.
that I did tell her that talking to a 20-year-old romantically was weird, and that even though she was technically legal and of age, a 20-year-old's mindset is drastically different than a 33, 34-year-old's mindset. Granted, I now understand that AMBERLYNN's emotionally and mentally stunted, so I could see from her perspective, her feeling ensured that this relationship was okay. And from a
Yeah, no. All of this is screaming red flags. No. Bad.
legal standpoint, I guess it would have been okay, but from a moral and social standpoint, it's really not. I just turned 29 in January, and I couldn't imagine myself dating anyone under 24, and 24 would be pushing kind of close, at least for me, because I want a girlfriend that I can have intelligent conversations with, and we're working towards the same goals, and we have similar interests. And
Okay, all right, well, no one asked.
I just don't get how a 20-year-old and a 33 or 34-year-old could be on the same page about anything.
There were many times that
I think that's giving, like, a toxic, like, fictional narrative that Ambi's probably going to write in, like, 2 years' time.
try to break up with her, but she would somehow find a way to stop it from happening by
Like that entire situation sounds like a book that Ambi would have written.
saying that she would fix it.
What was the second one called? Cantaloupe? No, something. I can't remember the name of her books.
Things would get better and we would get better.
So Beck saying this reminded me of the time that I kind of stopped trying to be friends with AMBERLYNN. I don't know if I necessarily said we can't be friends anymore, but I think I said something along the lines of we need to like take a step back, or we need to cut some things out of our communication with each other.
Dumb Not Dumber, thank you for the super chat again, honey. Dumb says, what is up with her choker? Is it now fused to her neck? It's annoying. I hate it here. I'm so sorry, honey. Yes, I don't think we've actually seen a piece of recorded content from Ambi without the choker on, so I think at this point in time it is just skin fused.
Because I had a girlfriend.
Sorry, Gobby's yelling.
And she was single at the time, but she would still make like really suggestive comments publicly, like on Facebook, calling me like daddy, even though I was in a relationship and everyone knew that. But anyway, so there was this one night where she flipped out because I wasn't talking to her enough because I was at my girlfriend's house at the time. And she left me this voicemail.
Okay, we're back. Sorry.
Hello. So
God.
my abandonment thingy is happening right now. I'm getting a little irrational
No, my abandonment thingy. Get a friend.
with anxiety and fear. So that's why I keep texting. But I just wanted to apologize if I came off as mean or insensitive or anything the way that I want to treat you always because you're a good friend of mine. Why am I about to start crying in a voice message? Like, I need help.
Oh, God. I don't know, girl. You do. You actually do. Like, stop just saying it and go and seek help. And also sort your shit out.
I don't like when we argue. It does not feel good. It feels very lonely and painful. I hope you and Bailey have a really good night. And again, I'm sorry. I don't want either of you mad at me because I definitely never meant any ill will.
This is being sent at midnight.
Love you guys.
So listening back to that, that apology does actually sound kind of genuine for her. But it just makes me sad because I know that back then I believed that it was genuine and I felt bad for her, which is literally why she sent that to me and why she wanted to apologize in the first place. Because when she was...
Having listened to that, my immediate gut reaction is, hi, this is too much. I'll talk to you later.
lonely or she felt like she was losing her grasp on me, she would be more kind sounding and more attentive. But keep in mind, this is when she didn't have a girlfriend. This is when she was single. So there wasn't anyone or anything occupying her time.
She did go to therapy for a very, very short time when we were together, maybe a few sessions. But no, she was not diagnosed with BPD while we were together.
I think I've said this before, but AMBERLYNN absolutely has not been diagnosed with borderline, or now she's been saying that she has CPTSD. And granted, both of those diagnoses are possible for the things that she has been through in her life. However, there are a lot of other mental illness diagnoses that it could be as well. There is no doubt in my mind that she has some type of cluster.
Sam, I have absolutely no idea, but she said right at the start of this that she just got her monetization back, so I'm assuming that might have had something to do with it.
B disorder. But until you are evaluated by a professional or a group of professionals, you have no idea what you have. And you can't just use Google and AI chat to diagnose yourself. It doesn't work that way.
I mean, that's very true.
And from my perspective, this is just another lie that she has told that she has fully convinced herself to be true.
I don't think she has ever truly been confident in herself or in her own interests enough to just be herself around people. Or maybe she knew that who she really wasn't as likable as the people she wanted to befriend, so it was easier to act like them than to be judged or scrutinized for her own personality and behavior.
Well, she's a sponge.
I think it's important to find people who like you for who you are, but I think she didn't feel like that was possible, so she had to be someone else with everyone. If she had just been herself, she could have formed real friendships a long time ago. And
See, we say that, but Ambi's often come online and said things like, I just don't know who I am.
Actually working on herself and improving all this.
I don't know, like, my aesthetic, my sense of style.
I wholeheartedly agree. I truly believe that I would often find myself wondering if we were really that similar or if she was parroting all of my little phrases or parts of my personality.
She never admitted to lying about a disorder, but I think that's because she genuinely believes that she has every single one that she says she has. She would self-diagnose constantly based on how she felt and a few Google searches.
I just want to say one thing to Amber because I know that she's going to watch this. So, Amber, I know that it's really hard for you to be accountable for your own actions and to tell the truth in...
Oh, but, like, see, she says she's accountable now. She doesn't know what for, but she says it.
The way that things had actually happened and not your own twisted version of the truth. But once you realize that life isn't going to get better until you start taking accountability for your own actions, and when you realize that you can't blame everyone else in the world for your own shortcomings, and you actually decide to get the help that you clearly need, life does get better and life does get easier, and dealing with big emotions or scary situations becomes less of a crisis and more of an everyday thing that everyone has to deal with.
While with Amber, she would be very defensive, and
I mean, she's not wrong.
anytime I'd try to ask her if she may be bisexual. She would say no and accuse me of trying to label her or change who she was. I'd ask about it because she would talk a lot about being with guys. I do understand being confused about your identity and wanting to explore that, but I was never really given that opportunity to support her or to allow her to explore that part of her. We didn't talk more about it because she was so adamant that she only liked women and would shut me down anytime I asked about possibly being bi.
So this was actually the part of Beck's new video where I paused the video and decided that I was going to make my own. So
Oh. Gossip?
couple things about this. Amber would literally always ostracize me anytime that I would talk about anything that wasn't another woman. She would be like, oh, I thought you were a lesbian. Or, oh, I don't really like bisexual girls. Whenever
Girl, you weren't dating. Sorry, that was directed at Ambi. What the fuck?
I would share an experience that I had. First of all, if we're not dating, it doesn't really matter the experiences that I've had. And even if we were
No,
dating,
exactly. You can be friends with people and they can talk about their life. What the fuck, Ambi?
who are you to judge me? Secondly, I would not really say that I'm bisexual, but this is not about me. I just think it's funny how she accepted that from Jade, the being bisexual, and she would have entertained a 3-person rendezvous with Jade.
Is this confirmation of the polyamory? That's the word I was looking for.
Had the opportunity arose.
Right.
Not to mention, when she was talking to Danielle and Abby and Erica, she was also talking to a guy.
It was a Danielle. What? Wait, wait, hold on.
When she was talking to Danielle and Abby and Erica, she was also talking to a guy.
Not biphobic, bisexual Lynn. Wow. Well. There you go.
You know what? Let me see if I can find the receipts.
Oh, she's got receipts? Oh! I'll read them out. From Ambi. That guy just told me he is catching feelings for me. Oh, fuck, who are these people? And it hurt him when I said I was in love with someone else, Lamau. Alexis responds, oh god, lol. Ambi says, he is saying the sweetest stuff to me, lol. Alexis responds with, dude, he's hot, go for it. Ambi responds, haha, but I'm a lesbian. Alexis responds, so, just see what happens. What? Honey, you need a hobby. You need... What? So, I hope someone asked her about this in the chat. Oh my lord.
Yeah, so I found them. And here is the conversation that we had regarding her conversations with him.
Oh, not the photo of him. Lex, don't do that. Oh my god, and his car? Okay, I'm so glad I didn't put Lex's video up on the screen because that's not okay.
Here's the conversation that we had regarding her conversation.
Oh my god. Not a photo of his car and his face. Lex, what are you doing? Don't do that.
With him.
Not you want to see. No, you don't want to see. Oh, what's the name? Dalton. Ooh, that's fun. Dalton. Wow. I mean, this was a choice to do this. Oh, are these screenshots from Dalton to Ambi? I'm sorry, I haven't been as active. I've been working overtime saving up for my new whip. Does that mean car? Response, it's totally fine. Wow, that's a nice car. Dang. Okay, that's Ambi. Dalton responds, thanks. Now I can make the trip to Oklahoma in style. Ambi responds, haha, that's funny. That would definitely be in style. Oh god, what vapid conversation. Dalton responds, I'm just missing a baddie passenger princess to go with it. Oh, honey, no. No, don't. Ambi's not that. This is Ambi talking to AI. I'm convinced. This is not a real person. This is Ambi having a conversation. She said, ChatGPT, you are Dalton. Enter dating profile details here. Send me photos and messages and treat me like a dainty pillow princess. No, not pillow, sorry, passenger princess. Baddie, okay.
Sitting on my couch.
Oh no, not with a video. Oh, Dalton. Oh, honey. Oh no, oh you poor dear. Somebody save Dalton. Okay, we'll listen in. I'm not showing the video, but we will listen.
Ouch. I really don't want to get up, but I guess I have to now, if you just hung up on the phone with me.
Oh, Dalton, honey, someone needs to... You're wearing a Deftones shirt. Look, you seem nice. You see, Dalton, I know you're not watching, but you seem like a nice enough person. I don't know you. And you called a car a whip. I don't know. We probably don't have a lot in common. But look, Ambi, run far, run fast and far. Get in that car. Drive the opposite direction of this dumpster fire on the internet. You don't want to taste. You don't want to swallow. You don't want to lick. Don't make eye contact. Run away. Run, Dalton, run. Oh, honey. Oh, Lex, why did you put this out on the internet? What is this? This is Dalton's business. Dumb Not Dumber, thank you for the super chat. Dumb says, do we think if Ambi got a male suitor and he wanted to be on camera, would she bring him to the internet? Well, I don't know whether or not he was expecting this video to be shared from Ambi to Lex and then for Lex to put it out on the internet. I don't think that's a very kind thing to do, but I find it very hard that people would find AMBERLYNN Reid and she wouldn't instantly be like, yeah, I'm a YouTuber. Do you know what I mean? Was he trolling? Possibly. Maybe he was pulling a Erica. Yes.
I want to get up, but I guess I have to now because he just hung up on the phone with me, even though we were having a great conversation. I don't even know what I want to do now. I could clean my bathroom or my kitchen. I think I need your input on this.
Oh god, yeah, the queen of clean.
I don't know. I need to
I
drive
swear to god, if Dalton makes a reaction channel.
to Oklahoma first and deliver you ice cream. Coffee ice cream.
Oh, Dalton, no, you don't want to do that. You don't. Unless you want to be stuck wiping her, don't bring her ice cream.
Okay. This is my second vlog, by the way, so I'm already
A vlog?
getting up there. I already have 5 subscribers, so...
Okay, so Dalton might not be particularly romantically invested or interested in Ambi, but it sounds like he might want to be a YouTuber, and he's got 5 subscribers, and he's making vlogs. So... this screams Roman L. Roman. But, I mean, look, the more the merrier, I say. The more the merrier.
This is my second vlog, by the way, so I'm already getting up there. I already have 5 subscribers.
Great. So... Do you want us to watch you, Dalton? Is that what this is?
Peace out.
As for the guy, oh my god. He's a subscriber type deal type situation, and
Ooh, subscriber?
He's a subscriber type deal type situation.
Okay, girly plob. Carrie, thank you for the super chat, honey. Carrie says, Zach, please pause for some therapeutic deep breaths because this gets even more hectic. Stop! You guys can't just say it gets worse and expect me to be calm. That's not how it works. It's my anxiety. Thank you for the thank you for the super chat, honey. Oh. Dalton, play choosy.
It was day 2 when I was like, I have a...
No, not you. Shh. Damn it, every time.
And I think that he might have a fetish for the bigger girlies.
Oh.
And he's super attractive. I can say that. Like, you can look at him and you can be like, oh yeah, he's cutie.
Ambi, what is going on? I can't look away. It's the burning dumpster fire effect.
Well, we exchanged numbers. I was super freaking drunk. He ended up calling me, and we had a little moment that rhymes with tone pecs.
Honey, please stop thinking relationships are built on phone sex. This is me talking to AMBERLYNN. Girl, go out and experience, like, in-person intimacy. I don't even know what does that look like? Not what it looks like, but, like, from Ambi's perspective, what does she do? Does she, like, lay up her phone? Actually, no, we've seen it with the crumble cookie, so I don't need to imagine.
Yeah, it happened.
Not the porn text.
It is not my
Did she crumb? Stop it.
finest moment. I have been extremely lonely. I have been confused. I have been going through it. I
I'm literally heartbroken over two people at once.
And having phone pecs with a guy. Dalton. What kind of name is Dalton?
I have been turning to alcohol. I felt lonely, and he made me feel like I was the hottest thing ever.
Oh God, Rebound Lynn is a lot. Trey! I'm externally screaming. This is insane!
And it just kind of happened.
God, everybody's gonna have such a fun time tomorrow making reaction content to this. There's gonna be so much to watch. Oh my God. Oh my God!
It is what it is.
So
I wonder if Dalton's gonna, like, phone in to have a chat with Geordie or something. How fun would that be?
was all of that talk about me liking guys and how it's gross just you projecting?
As for my experience as a non-binary person with
But I'm too tired for this.
Amber, I did bring it up a few times in our relationship. The only response I got was always, I don't know, you seem like a woman to me. It took me saying something publicly in a video recently to get her to respect my pronouns and name. So I don't think that if I'd come out at that time that she would have respected that decision.
She did not look like a girl. She taped on her boobs on purpose, so they'd always think I was a boy. So it's just really weird because I'm not into that.
That audio was from a couple years ago when AMBERLYNN was addressing,
A long time ago.
I believe, Casey, and how he looked like a boy, but AMBERLYNN wasn't into that. So no, I don't think that AMBERLYNN would have respected Beck coming out as non-binary. And when AMBERLYNN and I would talk about Beck, AMBERLYNN would still use she, her pronouns, even though she knew better. AMBERLYNN doesn't respect.
Yeah, MB doesn't care. She doesn't respect. That's right. Panda Maru, thank you for the super chat, honey. Panda Maru says, Karina is going to have a field day with this, honestly. This is bonkers.
And won't
Bonkers bananas. I can't believe we're watching this.
respect anything that she doesn't understand or identify with. So in the beginning of this video, I said that I was going to try to find clips from
Poor Dalton. I mean, Dalton was a subscriber, so Dalton knew what he was doing, but poor Dalton.
AMBERLYNN'S videos regarding semaglutide to pull and put into this video. However, I'm really struggling to find those clips, so I'm just going to talk about what I know. So when AMBERLYNN was on semaglutide when she was with Erica, she allegedly was working with this company, and if she lost a certain amount of weight and was promoting
That was the big, like, deal contract thing that she was talking about when she first got on semaglutide after the Ozempic run, I think. She was saying she couldn't, like, really talk about it until something happened. Turns out it was a flop.
It on her channel and was doing well off of the semaglutide. Apparently she had this link, and if people were getting semaglutide from her link, she would get kickbacks. Or I think she said that she would be able to take it for free for herself. But she never stayed on semaglutide long enough to see any results, which means
she really didn't paint that picture very well to the audience. It was just, oh, I'm struggling. Mai, thank you for the super chat, honey. Mai says, even though it's entertaining, I kind of hate this. I've never liked when people dismiss or question her being a lesbian. Now the biphobic a-hole validated it. Well, like, for me, at least, like, it doesn't matter. What does it matter? It's just wild that Ambi has been so... Yeah, I don't know. I just don't... I don't... Like whoever you like, Ambi, it doesn't really matter, but it doesn't make sense to me that you would be so, like, dismissive and rude and just, like, gross towards people who were bisexual and then do, like, shit like this. Do you know what I mean? It's very strange.
She never promoted the company, and she never shared her link, and she never got the kickbacks. I am going to end this video here.
Like, it makes me think that sometimes I like to simplify, like, Ambi's mess and be like, she does everything for attention. And, like, if you answer every situation like that, it truly is just, like, is Ambi actually interested in this person, or is she just doing it so she has something to talk about? Like, is she just doing it as for attention? Like, possibly.
Thank you to everyone.
Just everything for attention.
That watched this video and any of my other videos. If you liked this video, please
Which is really, like, gross and dismissive to say about, like, sexuality, but I'm taking that out of the conversation and saying, like, is Ambi just engaging with people via whatever platform so that she has something to talk to, like, Alexis about or someone else in her life about? Possibly.
A thumbs up and subscribe.
Okay, bye, Lex. Wow, what? Poor Dalton. That's bonkers. I can't wait to hear Ambi's perspective about this in, like, 3 weeks' time. How fun for us. All right, chat. that's it from me. My butt's fallen asleep. So thank you very much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you all. Please make sure you brush your hair and your teeth, wash your face, get your steps in, hug a loved one, look after yourself. Don't be a dumpster fire on the internet. Just treat people nicely. Don't be Ambi. Thank you for being here. If you'd like to hit the like button on the way out, that'd be great. If not, I will see you guys in the next video.